RealAgriculture.com Canola School is brought to you by Syngenta Crop Protection Canada. Okay, we're here today on RealAgriculture.com. We're with Joanne Buth from the Canola Council of Canada. Welcome today, Joanne.
Thank you.
What are some of the market access issues that are facing the canola industry in Canada?
Well, probably two of the biggest that we have right now is we have an issue with being shut out of China due to concerns over blackleg, plant disease blackleg in canola. And the Chinese don't have the particular species that we do have in Canada. They produce quite a bit of rapeseed in China, and so they're concerned that this species, maculans, could spread to the Chinese rapeseed crop. So that's one large issue. The other issue is we have an issue with meal going into the U.S. and FDA's zero tolerance for salmonella. And so meal coming out of crush plants can have salmonella in it at very low levels, but there's a zero tolerance for salmonella in meal going into the U.S. So we've essentially been shut out of the U.S. Meal market. That's specific crushers because it's on a crusher-by-crusher basis. So it has impacted meal exports to the U.S.
So with 85 to 95% of our canola being exported from Canada, how much of a factor is market access, or how big of a threat is it to the growth of our canola market?
It's pivotal. It's key. Clearly, as you mentioned, we export such a large amount of the crop, and we don't have a large number of markets that we send canola to. We have some key large markets, so the U.S., Japan, Mexico, and then China, which is in and out. So some years China can be zero. Last year we sent a record amount of canola to China, 2.8 million tons, more canola than we've ever shipped to any other country. And so China, although it can be a zero market some years, clearly what we need is when the economics are right, we need to have open access to that market.
So in terms of market access and risk mitigation, what role can the Canadian canola grower play in mitigating some of those risks?
The grower plays a key part in all of this because it's farm practices that have essentially end up as being market access issues. So Canola Council has had a communications program with growers called Export Ready, where we do tell growers what types of farm practices that they are doing could impact market access and could impact the ability for us to get our canola into countries and clearly impact the price of canola. And so it is things like growing only registered varieties, because there are some old canola varieties that have got some discontinued GM events in it that could create market access problems for us. Only using pesticides properly and being very, very careful with malathion use, only using it in crop, not for storage. And then growers will also see that we're going to focus a bit on blackleg this spring in terms of proper blackleg management practices. So these are key things that growers can do to make sure that canola can continue to move to export markets.
And if a grower wants more information on that stuff, they can get it from the Canola Council website?
Yep, onto the Canola Council website under production. There's a section on Export Ready. They can also contact the Canola Council agronomists that are in their areas, and the Council agronomists can help them too.
Perfect. So, in terms of developing new markets for canola, where are some of the things that we can look forward to? Is biodiesel kind of the big growth opportunity, or are there some others?
Biodiesel continues to be a market opportunity. Although it's been really slow coming, we've just recently heard that the renewable fuel standard, or the mandate, will be coming into Canada. It's been moving through the regulatory system, and so we'll have a 2% mandate on biodiesel probably within the next 12 months. If we took about 75% of that market, if canola took about 75% of that market, that would be 1 million tons of seed of canola going into biodiesel. So that's a big chunk. And we need to look at those types of things clearly, because when you're relying on export markets to have a domestic market, inelastic demand is really, really important. Other market opportunities that we're looking at countries that import soy oil. And so we're going to be doing an analysis looking at those countries that import soy oil and whether or not they would be open for taking a healthier oil and what are the market access challenges for us getting into some of those countries, to try and diversify some of the markets. We do have quite a few smaller markets that we ship to, but we have those big key ones. And so if we ever face a market access issue in any of those, we're in a lot of jeopardy of losing a big chunk of our markets.
Okay, Joanne, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.